So moving to breathing part 2. If you have trouble filling and creating initial abdominal pressure, please check out part 1. For part 2, we're actually going to start really training the diaphragm to drop down and expand, as well as retract and keep our rib cage in the appropriate position. An important part to remember about an inner abdominal pressure is keeping the relationship between our rib cage and our pelvis. If you think of the pelvis like a bucket of water, we want to keep the bucket stacked fairly neutral and the rib cage not flying and leaning back, but essentially pulled down to the hips, which creates this stacked pillar system. So most often when we are in a breathing exercise, that is what you want to think about, is filling and making sure the pelvis stays neutral, but also not letting the rib cage float, because then we're typically just extending at a random point in our spine. If you can keep the rib cage down, you will help keep inner abdominal pressure. So for the breathing exercise, we're going to come to the same supine position as part 1. Feet can go up on a wall or up on a bed. From this position, arms are straight up, all right? Make sure we're not shrugging the shoulders to the ears. Keep them pulled down towards the front pocket, but reach away. First thing we want to start with is thinking about the low part of the abdomen expanding first. Always breathing in and out through the nose, starting with a 4-second breath in. The first part we want to fill is exactly where we filled from part 1. The lower abdomen expands, as well as the lower back expanding into the ground. The side ribs expand out like a barrel. And then finally, with any amount of room we have left, the chest expands up. The retraction will be the chest will start to expand down, the ribs will start to bucket in, and then the rib cage will pull down and continue to keep a maintenance of the low back feeling into the floor. Starting with 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out on the breath. Breathe in through the nose for 4. Out for 8. In for 4. Out for 8. In for 4. Out for 8. Keep that going. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 8, 7. Make sure you're pulling those ribs down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Very good. Whenever you're doing an exercise that requires core strength or inner abdominal pressure, I would encourage you to think about that breathing pattern and really keep the inner abdominal pressure initiating from there.